wondered why the book of Mark, among all the Gospels, starts with Jesus' ministry and not his birth? This is a question that has puzzled many. Unlike Matthew and Luke, Mark's Gospel skips the nativity story and dives straight into the adult life of Jesus. It's like opening a book in the middle of a chapter, but there's a reason behind this unconventional beginning. Mark's Gospel is focused on the ministry of Jesus, his teachings, miracles, and the ultimate sacrifice. It's a fast-paced narrative that keeps the reader engaged, presenting Jesus as a man of action, a miracle worker, and a servant of humanity. By starting with Jesus' baptism and ministry, Mark emphasizes the public life of Jesus and his mission to the world. Now let's introduce the author. The book of Mark is believed to have been penned by John Mark, a companion of the Apostle Peter. His close relationship with Peter, a direct disciple of Jesus, gives the Gospel of Mark a unique perspective. It's almost as if we're hearing the story from Peter himself, allowing us to witness the life and works of Jesus through the eyes of one who walked closely with him. John Mark was not just a bystander, he was a part of the early Christian community, and his gospel reflects the realities and challenges of the early church. His account is raw, honest, and human, showing not only the divine side of Jesus, but also his human emotions and experiences. This combination of divine and human elements, along with the unique beginning, sets the book of Mark apart from other gospels. It invites us to explore the life of Jesus beyond the traditional narrative, to understand his mission, and to reflect on what it means to follow him. Do you think the book's unique starting point changes your perspective about Jesus' life? Ponder on that as we dive deeper. Have you ever wondered about the miracles of Jesus depicted in the book of Mark? We're not just talking about extraordinary events here, but life-altering, faith-affirming miracles. These are moments that showcase Jesus' divine power and his compassion for humanity. The book of Mark is brimming with miracles, and a noteworthy set of these are healing miracles. Picture this: a paralyzed man lowered through a roof, a woman suffering for 12 long years, a blind man longing to see the world. Each of them, desperate and hopeless, met Jesus, and their lives were never the same again. In each healing, Jesus didn't just restore physical health, but he also offered spiritual healing. Take the story of the woman who had been bleeding for 12 years. She was considered unclean, ostracized from society, but Jesus didn't just stop her bleeding, he called her daughter and affirmed her faith. It's a powerful reminder that Jesus sees beyond our physical needs to our deeper spiritual needs. Then there's the miracle of the feeding of the 5,000. With just 5 loaves and 2 fish, Jesus fed a multitude. This wasn't just a display of divine provision, but a symbol of Jesus' ability to satisfy our spiritual hunger. Each miracle, whether it's calming a storm or casting out demons, speaks volumes about Jesus' authority over nature, sickness, and even death. They are more than just stories. They're windows into the nature of Jesus' divinity, his compassion, and his mission. But here's what's really fascinating. These miracles aren't just about what Jesus did, they're also about how people responded. Some were astounded, some were terrified, and some simply didn't understand. Yet, in every instance, Jesus used these reactions to teach about faith, about trust, and about the kingdom of God. How do these miracles resonate with you? Do they strengthen your faith or challenge your beliefs? What does it truly mean to be a disciple? The book of Mark has some insights. In the book of Mark, discipleship is portrayed as a journey of faith, a path that is not always smooth, but always rewarding. Mark invites us to follow the footsteps of Jesus' disciples, who were ordinary people called to an extraordinary journey. They were fishermen, tax collectors, people from all walks of life, who answered the call to follow Jesus, to learn from him, and to carry his message to the world. But discipleship, as Mark portrays it, is not just about following, it's about commitment, it's about sacrifice. The disciples in Mark's gospel are not just followers, they are participants in Jesus' mission. They are asked to give up their old lives, their old ways of thinking, and their old priorities, to make room for the new life that Jesus offers. This is not a journey for the faint of heart, it requires courage and determination. However, Mark also emphasizes that discipleship is a journey of transformation. As the disciples follow Jesus, they are changed. They learn to see the world in a new way. They learn to value what is truly important. They learn to love as Jesus loved, to serve as Jesus served. They become not just followers, but leaders, not just learners, but teachers. At the same time, Mark doesn't shy away from the challenges of discipleship. He shows us that disciples can make mistakes, can falter, can doubt. But he also shows us that these are not the end of the journey, but part of the journey. Discipleship for Mark is a process of learning and growing, of falling and getting back up again. So, what does it truly mean to be a disciple? According to Mark, it means to follow, to commit, to sacrifice, and to transform. It means to step out of your comfort zone, to embrace a new way of life, to become a new person. It's a journey that requires all of you but promises to give you much more in return. Are you willing to make sacrifices for your beliefs? How does Mark's portrayal of discipleship influence your understanding? The crucifixion and resurrection of Jesus are pivotal events in Christianity, but how does Mark present them? Mark paints a vivid picture of these events, not holding back on the emotional and physical toll that Jesus endured. The crucifixion is portrayed in a stark, raw manner, with Mark emphasizing Jesus' suffering. Unlike other gospel writers, Mark does not shy away from detailing the pain and agony Jesus experienced. He underscores the isolation Jesus felt, the abandonment by his disciples, and the mockery from the crowd. Yet Mark also highlights the reactions of those around Jesus. He draws our attention to the Roman centurion who, after witnessing Jesus' death, proclaims, "Truly this man was the Son of God." This declaration from a Roman soldier and outsider underscores the profound impact of Jesus' death. Then there's the group of women watching from a distance who remain faithful to the end. They followed Jesus in Galilee, provided for him, and now they are there at his crucifixion, and later they would be the first to discover his empty tomb. Speaking of the resurrection, Mark's account is unique. It ends abruptly with the women fleeing from the tomb, filled with awe and fear. There's no detailed appearance of the resurrected Jesus, no grand reunion with his disciples. This might seem puzzling, but it invites us to reflect on the resurrection's mystery, its power, and its implications for our own lives. Mark's depiction of the crucifixion and resurrection is stark, poignant, and thought-provoking. It doesn't offer easy answers or neat resolutions. Instead, it challenges us to grapple with the suffering of Jesus, the shock of the resurrection, and the responses of those who witnessed these events. So let's ponder on this. How does Mark's depiction of these events affect your understanding of Jesus' sacrifice and the redemption of humanity? It's a profound question, no doubt, but it's one that lies at the heart of our journey through the Gospel of Mark. What are the key themes that resonate throughout the book of Mark? As we delve deeper into the narrative, we see how the kingdom of God, faith, discipleship, and sacrifice are woven throughout Mark's account. Firstly, the kingdom of God. In Mark, Jesus frequently speaks about the kingdom of God, which is both a present reality and a future hope. Jesus inaugurates this kingdom through his life, death, and resurrection, inviting everyone to partake in it. This theme is a constant reminder that the reign of God has broken into human history and continues to transform lives today. Next, let's talk about faith. Faith in Mark is not just a passive belief but an active trust in Jesus, reflected in our words and actions. From the woman who touched Jesus' garment to be healed, to the blind Bartimaeus who cried out to Jesus in faith, we are given countless examples of faith in action. Then we have discipleship. Mark's portrayal of discipleship is raw and real. The disciples often misunderstand Jesus and fail him, just as we often do. Yet, they are called to follow him, to learn from him, and to carry on his mission. This theme challenges us to reflect on what it means to be a disciple of Jesus in our own lives. Lastly, the theme of sacrifice is central to Mark's narrative. Jesus' sacrificial death on the cross is the ultimate demonstration of self-giving love. This theme reminds us of the cost of discipleship and the call to love others sacrificially. These themes, the kingdom of God, faith, discipleship, and sacrifice, are not just theological concepts, but practical realities that shape our day-to-day lives. They challenge us to live out our faith in tangible ways, to follow Jesus wholeheartedly, and to participate in the unfolding of God's kingdom. What themes resonate with you the most? How do they influence your understanding of the Christian faith? As we continue to explore the book of Mark, may we allow these themes to shape our perspectives, inform our actions, and deepen our faith.